callback functions, you might not know what they are, but in actual fact in Free Pascal you're likely already using them, especially if you are doing anything GUI oriented with event handlers. So just keep that one in the back of your mind. So perhaps if we would start with an analogy, so imagine you have to, or you take your car to the garage to be fixed and you drop it off, you give the mechanic your phone number, you go away about your business, and then later on in the day, they're finished fixing the car and then they give you a call. So here we're sort of like looking at a callback being executed here. They call you, yep, okay, cool, I can pick up my car, you go back, pick up the car, and you can drive off again. So the callback was the thing, or the code that happened, once they'd finished fixing your car. So in a similar manner, you've got bits of code, procedures that you will have being passed or being stored somewhere that can be called, on some condition. That procedure is not going to be polling or waiting around looking for that thing to be toggled or switched, whatever you want to call it. It's not like when you get to the mechanic, you're going to be asking them every 5 minutes, are you done yet? Are you done yet? Are you done yet? So so in some sense you could also consider this in the context of green coding, but we're not really talking about that today. What I might do for it, and then I might give you an example in using a callback, but not in this, it isn't event handling, call recording software. So the board drivers, which would get events from the trunk lines or the extensions, they would pass up information about a call. If there'd be an event when it was connecting, if the handset was picked up, if the handset's put down, if a button was pressed, the call disconnected, it could grab a trunk line, etc. All this information would get packaged up into a structure, and then I would have to implement a procedure which could take that information, and then I would do something with it, depending upon what I was given, and then life would go on again. So the idea is that the callback function would not be called unless there was an event, received or captured. So in the world of now Free Pascal, again, if you have been doing any sort of event handling code, like an on button click, on a form activate, form show, form close, then you are already familiar with the ideas of callbacks, even if you don't see them in that light yet. So what we're going to start with here is so what we'll do is we're going to start with let's say, hazard to say normal, but a procedural type callback function. So here we have we declare a type with a name, and then the signature of that will be its procedure, which will take in a task name, type const, and that's about it. So then we've got two functions which act as our callbacks, and you can see that the signatures match what is expected by the done notification. And then we are going to use these functions in let's call it a dummy function, which we've naming perform long task, which will print out something, and then once that's done, it will then call the callback function procedure, and if it wasn't assigned, then we're going to say that none was provided. Lastly, it will then get used here where we're saying downloading some data, running a report, and then doing some cleanup. In the first instance here, we pass across the address of a display message, and in this one here, we're using the second callback function which we implemented, and here in the last one, then we're not passing any. Now this is important here because you can see between here we have the address and here we're not passing anything, and that's why, you know, we're saying that if it is assigned, we can do it. If it's not assigned, you know, we can do nothing, or, you know, in here we're doing a write line. If you do try to execute something on nil, you're going to get an error of some description, access violation. So that's why it's important for you to check whether or not the callback function has been assigned or not. So if we go to our console window here, and let's watch this function in action. So here you can see that it was it said it was downloading some data, then it finished, and then said it was completed, and here then the next one was the first two lines again from the function saying that it was processing report, that it finished, and then you can see the callback function being executed with that log : finished executing a task at a time. The last one again, there was no callback assigned, so it was handled by this part, you know, here. Ordinarily you probably wouldn't have that code, and in the second example you would see how it might normally be done within a free Pascal type program here. So the main difference then between a procedural callback versus a method callback is that the one relating to classes will have method pointers, I should say, is when you will they're part of an object or a class. So it allows you to pass in a method as a callback, and again you'll have self as a reference as well, and typically, you know, so again when you can see like an on-click, self always being passed in. The other difference then is that you will have this word of object added. So let's go to the second demo program here that I have. By the way, if you ever do want to grab a copy of my notes, I'm just forming them up into a nice little bundle at the moment, but if you would like a copy, let me know. So here, let's go over to here. So I've got declared a logging unit, for lack of a better example. It's a very, all it will do is when you've called this add log function, or procedure I should say, all it's going to be doing is, you know, executing a callback somehow. So here you can see that we are going to call that do log, and inside the do log it will check whether or not the callback function had been assigned, and if it is, then it will execute it, and it will pass across whatever the signature, you know, tells it to pass. So in this case here we have a log event. The signature tells what the parameters are that we're passing. And again, the most critical thing of a method pointer here is that we have this of object at the end. Without that, your callback can't exist as part of the class. So you're talking about just a procedural type one. That's where you looked at previously here. So here we've got a property where we can assign our callback function, and it will be assigned to this on log event handler here. So that's all there is to the logging unit or class. Now here, when we start the application, then we create our logger, and again here we will then assign our event handler or our callback function to the on log property. if you were using Delphi or similar, or actually no, rephrase, if you were using Delphi, you don't have to put the address sign in front. So basically here we assign the event handler, and so what will then happen is when the edit control changes, or when we click on a button, have I showed you the form yet? So here we go. So when this edit control changes, or when they click on the button, stuff in the memo control here will be updated. So when we click on the button, we're just gonna we will output in the on button click is going to output that the button was clicked at a time, and then we're going to chuck this message towards the logger. Whereas when the contents of the edit field changes, we will just say, hey, it's been changed here, and then also this message here will be thrown to the logger. Now in throwing those messages to the logger, then this function down here will be executed through the callback, and it will say that the logger said blah, whatever that might be. So let's run this program now. So if I were to now just press on a key, you can see here that it said that the edit box changed to A, then AS, but also every second line says it's essentially came from the logger, where we and you can see the text there that was output. Again, if we click on the button, then that the button was clicked at some time, and then the message passed to the logger was also displayed, because that's what our callback function was told to do. So that's about it for that part. So you might be asking then, well, where are callbacks important? Well, if you've got operations that'll take a long time, such as you might be downloading data from some website, or a lengthy calculation that takes place, and the user wants to be able to use your program for other things, and what you could do is to have let's say some code over here doing downloading whatever that data is you're looking at, and then once it's finished downloading, it could call some other function or procedure which does whatever it needs to do at the end of the downloaded, process that data to put into a database, for instance. Callbacks would be used in free Pascal is with a quicksort operation in string lists. So you have a comparison function, and that allows you to pass across, say, you've got the list that you want to be sorted, and then you pass across the callback function which gives you control over the order. You also use it, by the way, in string lists with the notifications when, if you were to assign, set these up for when items are assigned or updated or deleted. They allow you to, let's say, decouple your software. And again, in Lazarus, when you order your event handling code, are in essence, callbacks by themselves. Now, I've already told you about checking whether or not the callback has been assigned or not, because you will get an error if you have not. And then the last thing then is to be mindful of when you are looking at callbacks within classes and therefore objects, the lifetime, because the last thing you want to do would be to execute a callback on an object that has been destroyed. So just keep that in the back of your mind as well. So again, there are two types in free Pascal. You've got the procedure pointers and method pointers. One does not have the of object at the end, and one does. And they allow you to allows you to have customizable applications. Here, for instance, let's say you were to run a report and you want to have like a CSV output or PDF output. you could say, have the CSV output as a callback after the report was generated, versus calling the PDF function, if they wanted a PDF, type output. So test these ideas out with your own software if you'd like to, and let me know how you go. And until next time, happy coding, and I'll see you then. Bye.